Alright everybody, welcome to the final part of the Let's Play for the Godfather Corleone's Empire. I just wanted to say hello. Go ahead and watch the rest of the playthrough, and then I'll have a timestamp as well if you want to skip to the final thoughts and analysis portion of the video. I'll have details, more on what else is going on with the tabletop showcase thing, as well as details on how to enter the contest. So I will see you on the other side of this video. So moving into round 3, we're going to move Don Corleone down here. You can see a couple of things at the end of this round. It's going to be a 6-card hand limit, a little bit more forgiving. And then you also are going to flip now a red business. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and reveal our last ally for the game, because there's no bidding at the end of the game for an ally that you're never going to use. So this ally will be bid on at the end of this round. You're only going to be able to use them once, but these are much more powerful. So this is another version of the mayor. There's different versions of the mayors and everybody like that in the earlier acts. There's no reason anybody can't have multiple or anything. So this says move the mayor to an unoccupied family member space, because remember they kind of act like a don. And it says shake down the back of all businesses in the adjacent turfs like a family member, and then gain control of one. So you can put one of your control markers out there. So this is kind of juicy there, especially in the last round. Okay, and so the next available spot here is area 3. We're gonna now take a red one, and then, ooh, what's this? I haven't shown you this yet. I didn't see the deck at all. No, I did. All right, so this one you can see has narcotics. So the back of the building will give you narcotics, the front will give you narcotics, and a $2 card. Okay, you can see there's actually a 4th resource up here. This is the narcotics card. You see it has all the different colors. Basically, it's a wild of any of these. Now, not in every single game is a building that gives you narcotics going to come up. It's kind of a 50-50 shot whether you see in those last 2 buildings if any narcotics or drugs are going to be manufactured. So that's going to change up kind of the end of the game. So this one, now you can start to get this, and this is a wild, makes it a little bit easier to do jobs. So yellow is first by way of the horse's head, and they have a booze card, and luckily for them, this card was drawn at the end of the round, this can't refuse card. It's kind of a fun one to play earlier in the round, because the player probably kept everything that they really wanted to, and you can look at this and remember, other players may discard a card, you may choose it and suitcase it. So we're gonna get this is gonna go in our suitcase, we're gonna get $3. And then red has to decide what to discard. It's tricky because they don't wanna do jobs, they don't really wanna give them 3 points, they don't wanna discard money, or excuse me, guns. Now they don't have anything with guns in their hand, but there's a gun here. So what to do? It's probably, let's just do the gun, because then that way they don't get anything. You lose the gun, but then the other guy doesn't get anything, so the gun's gone. So red's gonna take a little bit of revenge for that, or at least prepare for some. They're gonna go ahead and go up here, right there, and they're gonna be able to activate these 3 areas here, Central Park and the upper east and west side. They're gonna get a couple things. They're gonna get booze, drugs, be able to bank some money, and get $1. So we're gonna go ahead and just bank that $1 and get booze and drugs. Okay, so yellow is gonna go here against my otherwise intentions. They're gonna get 2 banks. They only have the 1-3, it's a little bit of a waste, but you're blocking the other player from using that one. It's an opportunity for them. They're gonna get guns, and then they're gonna get a job. Now, one thing I didn't realize as we've been playing is jobs are actually pretty tight in this particular playthrough. We haven't seen any of these other buildings come up that allow for jobs. This is the only place you can get jobs. It's these 2 little spots there. So that's kind of interesting. Sometimes you can have a lot of jobs kind of free flowing throughout the game. So we're gonna get the job. We already banked a 3, and we're gonna get a gun. Well, it's a good thing we got a gun, because we drew 2 of take the cannoli. So we're gonna keep one and discard the other. Well, this is pretty simple. I think red really wants to get some jobs. Jobs are very important. You know, you are able to do things besides play your workers to kind of last, you know, through the round a little bit longer, make your decisions better at the end of the turn. And jobs are good anyway, so let's get some points out of these jobs, hopefully. So they got a little bit of an interesting choice, a drive-by shooting and then a shakedown. Shooting, again, in this case, can remove any figure. This one allows you to do another shakedown again. You also get $5 out of this, and it's only 1 card instead of 2. I'm gonna take a peek at red's jobs and see what they've completed. I haven't been keeping track in my head. And see which color they've got more of. And you can see they have neither, so it does not matter. So they are going to go ahead and just pick, let's see, blue, because they have a mix. Remember, they got the narcotics, which can be a wild. So this could be pretty good to choose. Hey, yellow really needs some different kind of jobs, because all they got are these 2 shooting jobs here. that's not going to do them a lot of good. I mean, it is, but it isn't. You want some variety because there's more than just guns in the game. So they're going to go ahead and just play the take the cannoli there. Going to discard the gun, get this $3, and they're going to whack out red here, put him in the river. There's a chance yellow maybe just goes right back here and gets another job. Hey, you know what? Screw it. Red's going to go there. They're going to be a jerk. Maybe they're going to take and get another job. It's good to have flexibility. Okay, here we go. Here's the fun. Now, I promised that I would mention why it's a good idea to keep ones in the deck. So just for fun, I'm going to discard this other one. We've already got one of those anyway. You can see this one is difficult to complete. It's called extortion. It's got 3 boos. So you need 3 boos. It's easier if you have narcotics because it's wild. It says add to your hand 3 money cards from one player's suitcase. It's their choice. So you play this, you pick Billy. Billy gives you 3 ones, probably. Now there's only 3 of these in the whole deck. So there is possible room to kind of pick on somebody, but then if you're doing that, are you not targeting the player that's in the lead at that point? There's some kind of back and forth there. So anyway, so once this is played, it's out of the game. So we're gonna go ahead and keep that because I think red is losing anyway. So I think they kind of need to do a direct damage to yellow. So it is a very, very good thing that red decided to be a jerk and go there. Okay, I think it's time for yellow to activate his union boss. Now remember, you can go there, you can do the thug thing twice. So we're gonna play this card, it's gonna be played in front of them. We're gonna get the union boss, we're gonna play it here. Now let's say that red had actually controlled this and activated it twice. Red would be able to take the bonus twice as well. So what we're gonna do, this is a little bit unorthodox, just because we're in such a tight spot here with the jobs at this point of the game. I am going to discard, screw it. I'm going to discard 2 blood money and draw 2 guns. I'm going to discard a blood money and a 3 to get 2 guns. Not telegraphing my move at all. And also remember, this is going to exert its own kind of neutral influence. Right now, we're all tied. 1 to yellow, 1 to red, 1 to the city. Yeah, so red's going to go up here. Now, I could probably do as much as I wanted to do by just doing a thug up here and grabbing a booze, but this is going to give me booze, bank, bank. I can only bank 1 card, so it's a little bit of a waste, but I can get some influence out here because yellow's got some influence here, and it kind of doubles down on this area here and compete a little bit. So I'm going to bank my 3, I've got 1 3, and grab some booze for red. Now here's a couple of things. Kind of second guessing myself, but this feels realistic. I could play this drive-by shooting. Again, killing the thug in the spot where I could get a job. Well, red's still got a red thug to put out, so I don't want to get screwed out of it again. So I'm going to wait. I've got time to wait here because I got a ton of figures out. So I'm going to put one of these figures out, and then once hopefully red's done, because red's only got 1 figure left, the chances that they have multiple jobs they're going to play is going to diminish over time, and I'm kind of trying to play the waiting game here, playing this and then jumping in once they're out of figures. And I'm just going to go over here and grab some blood money because I do need some resources, hopefully for a job that I will fulfill soon. Now red's still got their 1 figure left, but they're going to go ahead and do this extortion, which I showed you earlier. They got the 2 boos and the narcotics, which is a wild. We're going to play this. We're going to get the 2 3s, and then we're going to get up to 3 money cards from the other player of their choice. So let's resolve that. So that's actually going to be a net 6 because yellow was smart or lucky, and they had 3 1s. That'd be very bad if you gave them 3 5s, for example. So these 3 1s are going to go directly into red's hand in this case. They don't go to the suitcase. We're going to give these to red. And yellow's got 2 thugs and 1 Don left. They don't want to play their last Don. Let's just go here. They're going to get a booze. Red's also going to get a booze, but I kind of figure, hey, red just played a booze card. It's doubtful they would do another, but who knows? Little do I know, they have 2 yellow cards in their hand. So each player is going to get a booze this time. Red's going to go here. This is their last figure. There's a few spots they could have gone, mostly just to bank money at this point. This one will give you a 2, which you could just bank. All they have in their hand right now is 1, so it's obviously better to bank a 2. So we'll go there. In terms of the area control, again, it was kind of a 6 1/2 dozen. This is going to tie up this area and then keep this one, well, under yellow's control. Red's still got one. They could try to sneak one in maybe next round, or who knows what's going to happen at this point because yellow's got a lot of stuff they're going to do. So I wouldn't worry too much about it if you were the red player in this situation. So go ahead and just bank that 2. Okay. So we're going to do the drive-by shooting. We're going to kill the Don again. This one costs 2 guns, and I can remove 1 figure up to 2 different players. So we're going to kill this one because we do want to get access to some of that drug money there. And we're also going to get 2 2s. And I am changing what I'm doing. I said I was going to kill somebody else earlier. I'm definitely going to kill them still. So the next thing I'm going to do here is put the Don there, and then I'm going to get, you can see the drugs, and then the booze, and then also a buck there. And I'll be able to bank that buck. But actually going to bank one of the 2s I have instead. Now, I know I said I was going to kill somebody else, but I looked at the board again. I was like, oh no, don't do that. Do this instead. So we're going to go here. This is mostly for control, or 100% for control. I'm going to discard these 2 cards, a 2 and a 1. Any 2 cards can be turned into a 5, which I'll do now, which is good because it's part of the hand limit deal. So money goes up, hand limit goes down, good stuff. And that is the last placement of the round. And I'm going to go ahead and do control now. So here, again, we've got a 3-way tie, 1, 2, 3. Nobody's going to get anything. Yellow's going to retain control. Another tie here with red and yellow. Yellow retains control. Yellow's the only one putting influence here. This is their last control marker. We're going to put that out there. You can see they're winning 2 to 1 there. This is where it gets tricky in a 2-player game. You don't usually see this at the higher counts. Let's take a look here at area 4. Yellow is winning that. Now it's 2 to 1 in favor of red already. So we're going to go ahead and move this to the top. But we should probably, yeah, let's not do that. We're going to leave that at the bottom. Sorry, just taking this through out loud. So I want to move one from somewhere else. So yellow's winning here. They're the only one with influence there. Now we can move one from somewhere else. Now here we just put one here, over here in Upper East Side. Let's just go ahead and take the one off the top there and move it there. Now they're effectively tied here and here, but yellow's on top in both places. So yellow's in really good shape to clean up a lot of points. If this was the last round, yellow would certainly, I think, win the game because they are really going to rock the rest of the board. So there's 4. Now we move to 5. Yellow's out of tokens again, so they're just going to go ahead and move this one to the top, like I explained earlier. So yellow's got that one. And here, yellow and red are tied, so that stays the same. Now yellow would win this one here, but they've already got 2 there, no big deal. Even if red controls this one at the end of the next round, then it doesn't matter because yellow's got 2 anyway. There's no, unless red played some funky card that allowed them to, you know, move a control or put a control marker out. And remember, the mayor is actually up for grabs there. So this is going to be the end of the playthrough. I'm not going to play through the last round, which you kind of leave it to your imagination. Yellow is in a stronger position. Let's take a look now at a little bit of what would happen if the game ended right this second, just to get a sense of that. Yellow's going to get $5 in addition to whatever money they have in their briefcase at the end of the game. For each area they control, red's going to get for area they control. Now yellow right now controls the entire board. And there's no area that yellow does not control. That would give them an additional $35, which is huge, 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 huge. Now the other thing you're going to total up is you're going to look at the number of job cards that are in your briefcase, and you can see how many do I have of each. So I've got the 3 grays, for example, 1 yellow, 1 green, and 1 blue. And then whoever has the most of each of the colors is going to get an additional $5. So yellow's probably safe with the grays. Let's see, 1 yellow, 2 yellows, 2 greens. So they didn't have any blues, so they would each get $10. Yellow and green would go to a red player, and then the blue and the gray would go to the red player. So that's $10 each, basically effectively a wash. And then you're going to count up your money here. I'm not going to bother doing that because I know who won. But yellow got $35. They clearly won this game because, you know, red didn't pay too much attention to control. Now there's a lot of balance here between getting actions, getting resources, doing it in the right spot at the right time, trying to get cards that allow you to kind of manipulate that with the shootings and so on, getting that money banked, but still trying to, you know, kind of combine that with all of the area control that's going to be happening. And that's definitely plays out differently in the 2 versus the 3, 4, and 5 player count. You don't usually run out of the control markers at the larger player count. You do sometimes run out of these resource cards, and these resource cards are fixed and limited. So if you go to take an action to get a gun card and there's no guns left, then too bad. You don't get the gun card. So you will see some of that, especially at the 4 and 5 player count, of resources being very tight. We saw in this game that jobs were very tight. So it's going to kind of go back and forth depending on the businesses that come out and all the kind of activities that players do as well. So the last thing I wanted to mention here in the last round is each player is going to get new family members. So you got that many more workers placement spots. You get a new business that comes out. At the end of this round, you have to discard down to 2 cards, and that's basically just your 2 highest money cards. Those are just going to go directly into your score, and of course there's not going to be any bidding for the ally. This mayor here in this case would have been the last one. So that's pretty much all that is, and let's go and jump into the final thoughts. We'll do a little bit of analysis on it. Okay, so that was the playthrough for the Godfather Corleone's Empire. Kudos to you if you watched all 3 videos fully. Let me go in and kind of dissect and do some analysis, and I'll mention the rest of what we're covering here on the Tabletop Showcase Week, as well as give you details on the contest towards the end of the video. Now, there's a lot to pick apart about this game. You can see that I played through a 2-player game of it, and you can see by the end of turn 3 going into turn 4 how dramatic the area control was in a 2-player game. That was really the deciding factor here. Now, that's going to change for sure as you up the player count, because you're going to have more players contesting, more players vying for the area, so the point swing is not going to be as dramatic. Now, playing kind of as myself, 2-player, double fisting it like that, that's a little bit tricky. So I did kind of let the area control get carried away with itself. And if you watch my playthroughs before, you kind of see I kind of like to just go and experiment and just do little things so you can see, hey, this is what happens when you kill some thugs. This is what happens during the bidding. Maybe there's a tie in the bidding. I like to go through a lot of the different permutations just so you can kind of see what happens as it unfolds. Definitely not playing optimally strategic in this playthrough. I don't think I've ever seen as big of a blowout in a 2-player game for sure with this. So let's pick apart the different parts of the game that are very, very interesting. So the first thing is the money cards. So you can't make change. You've got the money cards that you're dealt with. And as I said during the playthrough, you want to have some of those low cost monies. You want to have some 1s and 2s. You don't want to just have 5s in your briefcase here because of that extortion card that can suck all that money out of you. So you need to squirrel some of that away, and you need to squirrel away some of the low ones as well, so that when you go to bid on the allies round by round, you're not just stuck with like, well, I've got to bid with a 5 now because that's the only thing I've squirreled away at the end of round 1. You don't really want to blow 5 points on getting an ally that may or may not return that value to you. And that whole mechanism there of having to briefcase the money, be on guard and kind of keep some of the lower change really adds to kind of that tightness of the economy, because you've got to discard cards or pay tribute to the Dawn at the end of each of the rounds. That's effectively what you're doing there. So the economy in this type of game is very, very tight, and I'm not used to a game of kind of this weight and this kind of attitude to have such a tight economy. So it's a very heavy consideration in going into the game, where you're like, okay, I'm going here and doing worker placement, I'm getting drugs, I'm getting guns, I'm blowing you away and all that kind of stuff, completing these jobs. But at the same time, you've really got to be cognizant of what you're hanging on to. Should I really keep this job going to the next round? Yeah, I can do it, it's expensive. What's gonna be my return on it? Is it gonna be as impactful at the moment that I need to play it to have the most impact? And so it's a very, very light game in some ways, because you basically, you place a worker, get some stuff, you place one of your family members, you get some more stuff, then you get the matching symbols and you complete the job card. That's all super simple. You do like 3-4 things possibly on your turn, and that's it. But weighing all the options and the timing is so, so important in this game. Now, the other thing to keep in mind with that is, yeah, you're placing workers out getting stuff, but where are you placing your workers? Again, kind of dovetailing back into the 2-player game, that is so, so vital, especially in a lower player count, but still at a higher player count, it's pretty vital. Where are you going to do this thing? How is that going to influence the area control at the end of the round? It's good early in the game, because then if you get in some of these earlier numbered spots, these kind of earlier neighborhoods, you're going to get some benefit out of that. And I can't stress to you how much it helps you and it makes your life easier when people are kicking you free booze and guns and things for going to areas that you control. that makes your life so much easier and so much better. So it's good to get those spots earlier in the game, but then you start to trickle out those tokens and get them going, and then you kind of have that last 2 rounds where you kind of swing control at the end of the game to get those extra 5 points. And so that's a really heavy consideration. But all of that sort of heaviness and that hard to penetrate stuff is wrapped around a very simple core engine. So that's really, really cool. Now, the other kind of neat thing about it is the different colored job cards and the different goods and things. So you have here like these yellow ones here. These require booze, for example. So these are they feel very sort of like underground, like you're stashing money, you're stealing money, kind of under the cover of prohibition in some ways. And then you've got the gray cards, which use the guns. And those will obviously be meant for killing thugs and other family members. But the thing that's cool about that is you can see what people are taking, where they're going. You're like, oh, Billy's over there collecting guns. Okay, well, he must have some jobs that, need guns, obviously. Now, some jobs, use a variety. But you've really got to keep an eye on what people are doing. And it's really, I can't stress enough, it's really important as that round kind of moves along. All right, well, Billy's got these guns, so if I go here, I'm just going to get blown away. So it shouldn't really take you by surprise, which is great, because then you have all these people kind of playing like cat and mouse. Like, I'm going to go over here. Yeah, I don't want to go here just yet, because, if he shoots, blows everybody up with a car bomb or something, then I can jump back in there on my turn if I hold back a family member or hold back a thug to get that key spot, because maybe the jobs deck is very, very tight. There's not a whole lot of output from that deck. So you really are trying to time that and hold that back. And so that whole timing thing just really starts to ratchet up. And it's great to play jobs. It's great to get an ally just because it's like effectively a pass. It's like, ooh, I don't really know what I want to do right now. I know I need to keep these figures back, so maybe at the end of the round I can do a bunch of stuff. So I need to have a job or an ally or something like that just to kind of sort of prolong that inevitable end of the round where I can kind of dictate more readily the control. So again, that's another kind of layer there, a little bit more evidence there for, hey, simple core, lots of stuff to chew on, lots of sort of complexity, not in terms of like, hey, I can pick ABC off the street and play it. It's like, yeah, we can pick it off the street and play it, but then after multiple plays of this, you're still going to uncover those layers and stuff of what people can do. And then also kind of ties into the theme a little bit, where you're watching, Billy and Francesca over there, they're really into the gun running or the drugs. And so you've got to sort of keep an eye on that family, similar to a lot of sort of these movies and stuff where you see that, where you've got to, always keep that ear to the ground, that ear on the street. And so that really rises out of the game, and that theme really comes through and really plays and wraps itself up into the strategy. There's also a lot of replayability that's going to be here, because you've also got these different allies as well. So you're only going to get a handful of these different allies, and sometimes they're going to help you get money, sometimes they're going to help you use some of the special NPC characters like the mayor and the police chief. And you also have the different types of buildings here, and specifically you have the blue ones which come out, and so these will kind of change up that economy. But for example, here you've got this one. This is one of the red buildings. You get 2 of these per game. 50% of these, like this one, don't have narcotics in there. Now, I've played this game 6 times now, and I've seen one game where there were no narcotics at all in the last 2 rounds, and that really, everybody was like, whoa, so far we played it, and there's always been multiple narcotics and everything was, sort of easier to get. But when we came to the end of the game and there were no narcotics, like, oh wow, I got to really kind of rethink my approach here in terms of kind of the economy of actions. Like, okay, well, these job cards are gonna be a lot harder to complete, so everybody's gonna go after that. I should really kind of buckle down on maybe just getting some straight money and some suitcasing actions and that kind of stuff. And so that really kind of shifts the way that you approach the game there. And the last thing that I want to mention is I talked about how in a 2-player game, the area control is a lot more stark, a lot more dramatic. Now, as you increase the player count, you're also going to start running out of the different goods, like the guns and the booze and stuff like that, because that's a fixed number of cards in the deck. And the area control is not going to be quite as drastic. You're not going to run out of the tokens, for example, in a higher player count. In the lower player count, you might even run out of the area control tokens and have to move them around. Once you get to the higher player count, you've got to really watch those decks of cards and see what's getting lower And a lot of times we've seen where all the guns are out. And so, like I said, everybody's kind of watching each other like, okay, all the guns are out. Who's going to pull the trigger first and start blowing everybody away? So that's a really kind of interesting, simple thing. It's like, hey, fixed number of cards, boom, they run out. And now, wow, that really just changes the dynamic between the players. So definitely take a look at this game when it comes out. I think you're going to enjoy it. I think a lot of people are going to appreciate it. The nice thing I think about this game, to kind of step into the review world for a second, is that it's an area control game. It's got some nastiness to it, but like when your workers and your thugs are blown away, you're not losing them. You're not really like losing this big, gigantic, dramatic area control. So I can think of a game like El Grande or Tammany Hall or something like that, even Blood Rage, another Eric Lang design, where it's so dramatic, like, oh, you just ended my game. That's not the case in this, because it has a few different ways to score points: collecting money, getting the most of different types of jobs. So the area control is a piece of that, but and it's a very fun piece, because that's how you get to shoot each other. But it's not that overhanging, like, oh, I just lost the game. It's not that hardcore. So I think this probably will get some comparisons to Blood Rage, because it's got the area control thing, you got some special power cards and that kind of stuff. Very, very surface level, they're comparable. But I actually think that there's some players, or probably a few, this is just kind of a guess, honestly, but that there are people that don't like Blood Rage that will love this a lot more than Blood Rage. And probably, obviously, vice versa. But I think this kind of sits in that same space, but it's enough different, and it's a little bit more accessible. Well, probably a lot more accessible, but that's hard to gauge, honestly. It's definitely more accessible than Blood Rage. There's no drafting. You don't have to really like chain together combos, although you can kind of stretch a combo out over the course of your turn and stuff like that here. There's certainly combos you can put together, but it's not so onerous. The combo side of it isn't onerous. It's definitely more, I would say more, but it's definitely, within the context of itself, it's more about the player-to-player interaction than the combos. So I think this is going to be a little bit more accessible. So if you're somebody that like doesn't like the area control, doesn't like that much punching in the face, this is definitely an approach I think that you could get into. And if you can get into the Godfather theme, then for sure I would definitely take a look at it. So as I said earlier, I'm done talking about the game now. Definitely take a look in the descriptions below about the tabletop showcase stuff. You got the interview coming up tomorrow, if you're watching this in real time, where Marty and Tony from Rolling Dice and Taking Names talk to Eric Lang about the design process and everything. After that will be Chaz Marler's video. I'm not sure what he's got put together. He always does something very creative and special, so I'm excited to see that, because the time I'm recording this is a couple of weeks ago from when you're watching it, so I haven't seen what he's put together. And I'm also very excited about Matt's board game replay, and I don't want to spoil anything or talk that one up too much, but I'm really, really excited about that as well. So definitely take a look at the description link there. Now, we're also running a contest, like I said. We're going to be giving away, I think, 3 copies of this, and there'll be details on how to enter all that. Now, you need a keyword, and the keyword I mentioned in the very, very first video, so kudos to you if you can guess the keyword, but it is showcase. So anyway, I built that up more than I should have, but that's all right. So if you put in the keyword showcase, go into your details and your email and all that stuff, then it would be entered in to win a copy of The Godfather. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this video and everybody else's videos. I know we've all had a blast putting this stuff together, and we've all been really excited to showcase this game for you. I think it's going to do very, very well. I expect most people will really enjoy this game. So definitely give this one a look, and definitely take a look at all the other content. It's going to give you, we're going to give you so many different perspectives and angles and ways to look at the game. And so hopefully, one or more of the pieces that we put together for you, you can give you some idea if you want to take a look at buying this or not. So anyway, thank you for watching.